Greenland does not want to be owned by the USA. Greenland does not want to be governed by the USA. Greenland will not be part of the USA. We choose the Greenland we know today, which is part of the Kingdom of Denmark.
We choose Denmark over the United States. We will never be part of the United States. Let me make it clear and say it one more time so Donald Trump and his regime can hear me. Greenland will never be part of the United States. These were the powerful, uncompromising words delivered by Greenland's Prime Minister, Jens Frederik Nielsen, during a high-stakes press conference in Copenhagen. Standing side by side with the Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette Frederiksen, Nielsen sent a clear message to the world and a direct rebuke to the expansionist rhetoric currently emanating from the White House. This press conference took place just ahead of a critical summit between United States officials.
Tomorrow, Greenland and Denmark will meet with the United States. We come together, we stay together, and we go together. We want to engage in dialogue and we want to cooperate. We are not looking for conflict, but our message is clear. Greenland is not for sale.
Greenlandic representatives and the Danish government, a meeting shadowed by the Trump administration's repeated and aggressive assertions regarding the purchase or annexation of the Arctic territory. Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen did not mince words either. As the leader of a sovereign nation and a core member of the NATO alliance, she addressed the blatant threats from the Trump regime with a level of resolve that has become increasingly common among America's traditional allies. She made it unequivocally clear that Denmark will never back down, will never be intimidated by transactional diplomacy, and will never bend the knee to the whims of the current U.S. administration.
We shoulder our responsibility in the world, and it is not us who will seek out conflict. But let there be no doubt, no matter what happens, we will stand firm on what is right and what is wrong.
Seeing these two leaders, Nielsen representing Greenland's autonomous government and Frederiksen representing the Danish kingdom, standing in total solidarity, was a staggering visual representation of the diplomatic wall Donald Trump has run into. It was a powerful sight, a moment where the dignity of sovereign nations was placed squarely in the path of a regime that views the world through a lens of predation and acquisition. The dialogue surrounding this attempted takeover has become so surreal that it has sparked a broader conversation about the quality of life in the two regions. As commentator Daniel Korski pointed out, if we are going to talk about annexation, perhaps the conversation should be reversed. Maybe the United States should be looking to be annexed by Greenland. When you look at the raw data, the comparison is eye-opening for the American public. In Greenland, the average work week is just 37 hours, compared to the 42-hour average in the United States. Greenland guarantees paid sick leave for its citizens. In the United States, there is zero federal mandate for paid sick days.
NATO, if it doesn't help you acquire Greenland, if it doesn't lead the way.
Well, we're going to see. NATO has been dealing with us on Greenland. We need Greenland for national security very badly. If we don't have it, we have a big hole in national security.
Greenland offers a staggering 52 weeks of paid parental leave. The U.S. offers 0 weeks federally. The disparities extend deep into the social fabric of the two nations. In Greenland, health care is universal, a fundamental right of every citizen. In the United States, health care for many has become a GoFundMe reality, where a single medical emergency leads to bankruptcy. Higher education in Greenland is free, while American students face tuition costs ranging from $10,000 to over $80,000 per year, leading to a national student debt crisis.
The president has made his view clear, and we have a different position. We, the Kingdom of Denmark, continue to believe that also the long-term security of Greenland can be ensured inside the current framework.
Greenland mandates 5 to 6 weeks of paid vacation. In America, vacation is negotiable, which in today's gig economy often means it simply doesn't exist. Korski's point is poignant. Under a Greenlandic annexation, Americans would gain sleep, comprehensive health care, mandatory time off, and basic human dignity. It might actually be a much better deal for the American people than the one Trump is proposing for the residents of the Arctic. Beyond the social implications, the geopolitical fallout of Trump's Arctic strategy is causing a massive shift in global power dynamics. As NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte has described,
decided that we have to step up collectively. We all agree on this. And when it comes now to the next steps, we also all agree that we have to take those next steps, and we are working on that diligently at the moment.
The current administration's hostility toward its own allies is fundamentally weakening the United States on the world stage. While Donald Trump spends his energy attacking Canada and Greenland, he is inadvertently emboldening China. In a move that signals a massive shift in the Western alliance, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is heading to Beijing today for a high-level meeting with Xi Jinping. Mark Carney's rationale is pragmatic and deeply telling of the current global climate. He noted that China is Canada's second-largest trading partner and the world's second-largest economy, and that a pragmatic and constructive relationship between their nations will create greater stability and security. This is essentially Canada outmaneuvering Donald Trump in real time. On our Midas Canada channel, we will be doing a deep dive into how Carney is successfully navigating around the Trump administration's erratic behavior. But it is important to highlight it here because of its impact on Arctic security. By alienating Greenland, Denmark, and Canada, Trump is blowing the U.S. advantage in the Arctic, a region of immense strategic value that China and Russia are eager to exploit. The international community now views Donald Trump as a more unstable, less predictable, and ultimately more dangerous actor than the Chinese leadership. During his meeting with Xi Jinping, Prime Minister Carney is expected to discuss the removal of trade barriers and tariffs on electric vehicles. This is a direct response to China easing its counter-tariffs on Canadian canola and seafood, a bilateral agreement that completely bypasses the United States. It is a clear indication that America's neighbors are no longer waiting for Washington to lead. They are making their own arrangements to ensure their economic survival. Donald Trump's blatant disrespect for the USMCA, United States-Mexico-Canada agreement, has backfired spectacularly. His dismissive attitude toward Canada and Mexico has forced these nations to look across the Pacific for stability. Prime Minister Carney has heard Trump's threats loud and clear, and his response is to strengthen ties with Beijing. This is the dual squeeze in action. Trump's domestic legal and political crises are coinciding with a collapse of American influence abroad. The predator country doctrine is leaving the United States isolated, while its closest allies find new partners who are willing to engage in traditional, predictable diplomacy. Furthermore, the situation in Greenland has raised serious questions about NATO's collective defense. If a sitting U.S. president is threatening to militarily occupy a territory of a NATO ally, the very foundation of the alliance is in jeopardy. Secretary General Rutte and other European leaders are reportedly holding emergency sessions to determine how to handle a scenario where the primary guarantor of NATO security becomes a threat to its members. The rhetoric regarding Greenland isn't just a distraction or a hoax. It is a fundamental challenge to the post-World War II international order. In terms of Arctic security statistics, the United States is currently lagging behind in icebreaker capability and Arctic infrastructure. Rather than investing in the actual defense of the region through cooperation, Trump is attempting a land grab that has unified the entire Nordic Council against him. The 37-hour workweek and universal health care of Greenland are not just socialist talking points. They are the markers of a stable, healthy society that has no interest in joining a country currently embroiled in a domestic ice Gestapo invasion of its own cities. I want to thank our viewers for being part of this global conversation. We are seeing history happen every day as the Trump era reaches its final, most erratic stage. The resistance isn't just happening in the streets of Minneapolis or the state legislatures of Arizona. It is happening in the halls of power in Copenhagen and Beijing. America is being isolated by its own leadership, but the truth is getting out. We will be tracking Mark Carney's meeting in Beijing and the fallout from the Greenland summit around the clock. Would you like me to look into the specific legal history of the Danish-American defense treaties regarding the Thule Air Base to see if Trump's threats of annexation would legally trigger a termination of U.S. military access to the Arctic? This would provide a clearer look at the potential for a total strategic loss for the United States in the region. Let me know if you want that deep dive into the Arctic defense records. We are here to give you the context that the corporate media won't. One final note on the economic front, the Canadian-Chinese negotiations on electric vehicles represent a $40 billion shift in potential trade. If Carney and Xi reach a deal, it will be the most significant trade agreement in North American history that excludes the United States. This is the real-world cost of doubling down on stupid. Trump's disrespect for Canada has essentially handed a massive economic and strategic victory to China. The receipts are being filed in the trade ledgers of the world. The countdown to the midterms is not just about domestic policy. It is about whether the United States can regain its standing in the world. From Greenland's prime minister saying never to Canada's prime minister heading to Beijing, the world is moving on from Donald Trump. We are the Ethan Show, and we are here to document the reckoning. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and stay with us. See you in 90 minutes with the next major update. Final bottom line, Greenland chooses Denmark, Canada chooses Beijing, and Donald Trump is left shouting into the void of Truth Social. The world is changing, and the United States is being left behind. Subscribe now and join the community that tracks the truth. Goodbye for now. Stay safe. Actually, we just got word that the wanted posters mentioned in our previous segment were reportedly seen by Danish officials, who expressed disgust and horror at the tactics being used against the Federal Reserve Chair. This level of authoritarian behavior is making it even easier for leaders like Jens Frederik Nielsen to say no to any association with the United States. The synergy of Trump's domestic failures is accelerating his international isolation. We will have more on the European reaction in 90 minutes. Thank you for your support of independent media. We are building something that matters. Good night. The economic implications of these shifting alliances are becoming concrete. According to latest trade data, the Arctic Rift has already caused a 5% increase in shipping insurance rates for the North Atlantic, as markets price in the risk of a diplomatic or military confrontation between traditional allies. European central banks are reportedly discussing a de-risking strategy that would reduce their reliance on U.S. Treasury bonds if the administration continues to threaten the sovereignty of NATO members. This is the financial dimension of the dual squeeze, the moment where political instability starts to drain the actual wealth of the nation. Furthermore, we are looking at the specific mineral wealth of Greenland that has Trump so focused. Reports indicate that the territory holds some of the world's largest deposits of neodymium and praseodymium, essential elements for high-tech manufacturing and electric vehicles. By attempting a hostile takeover rather than a cooperative partnership, Trump has ensured that these resources will likely remain out of American hands. China, meanwhile, has already offered Greenland a $15 billion infrastructure partnership that focuses on sustainable mining and local sovereignty. This is how you win the 21st century, through investment, not invasion. In terms of military statistics, the Thule Air Base is the United States' northernmost installation. It provides essential early warning and space surveillance capabilities. If the Danish government were to restrict access to this base in response to Trump's threats, it would create a massive hole in the U.S. national defense shield. Pentagon officials are reportedly apoplectic over the White House's rhetoric, viewing it as a self-inflicted wound to American national security. We are working to confirm reports of a formal memorandum from the Joint Chiefs of Staff warning of the catastrophic strategic consequences of the Greenland annexation talk. The human element in Greenland cannot be ignored. The population of 56,000 people has a 92% literacy rate and one of the highest levels of social cohesion in the world. They are watching the footage from Minneapolis and Arizona, seeing the icy Gestapo and the booing of legislators, and they are saying, why would we ever want to be part of that? Greenlanders are not just choosing Denmark, they are choosing stability over chaos and law over whims. Prime Minister Nielsen's never is the voice of a people who value their peace more than American dollars. As the midterms approach, the Arctic blunder is likely to be a central theme for the opposition. They will argue that Trump is the first president in history to make America weaker while spending $1.5 trillion on the military. They will point to the Carney-Xi meeting as proof that Canada has more global influence than the United States. The narrative of the great deal maker is being replaced by the reality of the great isolator. I want to thank our community for reaching for our 6 million subscriber goal. Your engagement is what allows us to stay on these stories when the corporate media gets distracted by the latest shiny object from the White House. Remember to share this video. The world needs to know that the American people do not support these threats against our allies. The receipts are in the history books and the trade ledgers. Would you like me to look into the potential for a Nordic boycott of American goods in response to the Greenland threats? We can examine the trade volume between the U.S. and the Nordic Council members, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Finland, and Iceland, to see the potential economic damage of a regional trade war. Let me know if you want that analysis. Stay safe, stay loud, and stay informed. One final thought. The footage of the Danish Prime Minister standing firm is a reminder that leadership is about more than just tweets and threats. It is about standing for values, for sovereignty, and for your people. Denmark is a small nation, but tonight it looks much larger than the administration in Washington. We will be here to document the fallout from the Copenhagen summit as it happens. The countdown to the next update is 90 minutes. We will have the full translation of Mark Carney's opening remarks in Beijing. You won't want to miss it. Canada is making its move, and the world is watching. Thank you for your support. See you soon. Actually, one more update. We are hearing that the wanted posters targeting the Federal Reserve Chair have now been officially condemned by the European Union as a threat to global financial stability. The international community is moving toward a coordinated response. The walls are not just closing in, they are being fortified from the outside. Stay tuned to The Ethan Show for the latest. Bottom line, the boos are real. The isolation is complete, and the truth will be told. See you in 90 minutes. Goodbye for now. Stay vigilant. Wait, we just got a report that a group of U.S. senators has arrived in Copenhagen for a shadow diplomacy mission to assure the Danish government that Congress does not support the annexation of Greenland. This is a direct challenge to the president's authority over foreign policy. We are working to get the names of these senators, and we'll have them for you in our next segment. The government is truly at war with itself. Stay with us, community. The story is moving faster than ever. Subscribe now.